Good morning, everybody. So today again the MMPH004. Today we have to discuss the block number 4 of industrial and employment relations. That is block number 4. Grievance, discipline, and conflict resolutions. This is the block number 4 of industrial employment relations. This is the last block. The units are unit number 13, 14, and 15. There are 3 units. Unit number 13 is grievance handling. How to handle the grievances. Unit number 14 is the discipline in organizations. And unit 15 is your industrial conflict. So there are 3 aspects how to handle the grievances, what type of discipline is required, and why the conflict, and the sources of conflict, and to manage the industrial conflict. That part we have to discuss in 3 minutes. Grievance can be defined as any discontent or dissatisfaction that an employee has with any aspect of the organization. It can be real or imaginary, legitimate or ridiculous, stated or unvoiced, written or oral. It must, however, find expression in some form of others. Discontent or the dissatisfaction is actually grievances. Grievances can be either silent or expressed by the employee. It is written or unwritten. This is different type of forms are given. Is valid and legitimate or untrue or completely baseless. Grievances does not require always will be true. Maybe baseless. Must have something to do with the employment relations. Discontent can be termed as grievance only if it is connected with organization policies and practices affecting the employees in their work situations. So must have something to do with the employment relations. The discontent can be termed as grievance only if it is connected with the organization's policies and practices affecting employees in their situations. In most of the cases, the grievance can be broadly in three types. Legitimate grievances. This is a real grievance when there is a cause to believe and there has been some sort of in contract violations. However, it has been observed that the clauses in a contract have different meaning for different. Imagine the grievances. As the name suggests, the employee believes that there has been a violation of some clause, or the management has some employee that clauses in the right manner. The real cause of the grievance can be something very trivial, but given a great importance by the employee. Mostly, it is due to some misunderstanding, etc. So different situation of grievances are here. Political grievances. These grievances are very difficult to solve. Mostly these grievances are connected with unions. At times the union may keep cutting about a grievance without merit as to get a good standing with its members. But this is hampered, really, this hampered situation. is more difficult. Political grievance handling is more difficult rather than other type of grievances. It will be more easy to handle. Now coming to the reasons why the grievances are coming. Reasons for the grievances. In a service industry, the manager cannot afford to assign a frontline job to an employee who holds the grievance against the organizations. You can well imagine the result if the tour escort or the hotel receptionist is an unsatisfied employee. So what will happen if the receptionist is unhappy? So for a successful manager, it is essential not only to be aware about the employee's grievance, but also to understand why a grievance is occurred. Grievances may occur for a variety of reasons. So prime duty as a manager, handling, okay, this is one of the way the grievance handling. But before that, some proactive action to be taken here so that it should not be occurred. So basically the root cause of the grievance complaints are to be identified and their itself should be finished and should be sorted out. Now the variety of the reasons. Economic, wage computation, overtime, bonus, commissions, etc. Employees feel they are the feels they are not enough, not getting things what they ought to get. Then another is a work environment. That is one of the reasons. Poor working conditions, grievance handling, defective equipment and the machinery tools. Suppose the machine where the worker is working is very defective. Maximum frequently it is tripping, irritation starts, there's not many motivation, old equipments and the machinery tools. This is also one of the reasons for the grievances. Because here he is supposed to do his good job, supposed to do his good performance, but he is not getting it because of the condition of the machines. So that is in turns your work environment. Supervision. Disposition of the boss towards the employee, perceived notions of the favoritisms, nepotisms, bias, etc. That is also one of the reasons. Work group, strained relations or incompatibility with the peers, feeling of neglect, ostracizations, and victimizations. Then your work organizations, rigid and unfair rules, too much or too less work responsibility, lack of recognitions. The apparent causes or sources of grievances may not always be the real ones. There is need for the deeper analysis of the policies, procedures, practices, structures, and the personality dynamics in the organizations to arrive at the real cause of the grievances. So, to reach the root cause, so you have to see the procedure practices. If the procedure is good, then definitely the employee will be happy because it is well defined how to do it, and the practices are also the total awareness is there. And it is in a structured way is maintained. So then the it is not there, then definitely it will be a cause. I mean the grievance causes, and which are the real cause for the grievances. We can so one can consider it the real cause. Uh, Reason for again the grievances stem for the management policies and the practices, particularly when they lack consistency, uniformity, fair play, and the desired level of flexibility. Grievances also may arise because of interpersonal problems or the individual employees and the union practices aimed at the reinforcing and consolidating their bargaining strengths. In short, you can say the grievances arise. Sometimes the relation is not good. Relation problems, number one. Number two, the practices, union practices, which are not enforcing, and the bargaining is not so much that type of strengthening the things. So it creates a problem, and so that in turn it will be treated as a grievance. The absence of a proper two-way flow of communication. Another aspect is the communications, because communication always should be bipolar. I mean, should be a two-way, two-way flow. The communication should be there. Senders and receivers, and again the receivers and senders should be different path, and there should be two-way path. So there should not be any interruption or any delay. So grievances can have several effects which are especially adverse and counterproductive to organizational purposes. The adverse effects include, that is for loss of interest in the work, consequent lack of moral and the commitment, poor quality of work, increase in wastage and costs, and increase in absenteeism. There are so many factors out there. Then some of the important ways of the discovering the grievances are briefly outlined. Some of the things are outlined here. Direct observations. Direct observation means a good manager must know these are our subordinates behave and the organizational and ordinary circumstances. When the significant changes in that behavior occurs, it is sure to affect the performance. Absenteeisms, then lateness, basically the latecomers, indifference, etc. are some of the forms in which the discontent and the dissatisfaction find expressions. A careful analysis of the grievance rates, accident rates, request for transfer, indiscipline, etc. may reveal the general patterns that are not easily discernible in the first instance. Because when the employees are applying for different purposes, so that has to be taken care very carefully, very with a proper dignity, so that it should be happy and handle their selves. Don't delay. If it is a delay, then maybe the priority will be changes, and finally the stress level will be increased in the employees, and they feel bad, and it will ultimately affect the work also itself. Grievance proceeding. Now there are some of the procedures we have to discuss. The most important channel through which this content and the dissatisfaction can be communicated is through the grievance procedure. Say, a grievance procedure provides an avenue and an opportunity to an employee to give vent to his or her grievances. The dilemma most managers face whether how far they should encourage or discourage the grievances. That is the main problem. If management does not induce employees to express their grievances, unions will do so. So discouraging employees from the expressing their grievances means ignoring the grievances. It means so when they simmer and burst, management find it beyond their capacity to deal with them adequately. So it is a beyond the limit. When the things are beyond the limit, then it will be conflict and the grievances will be density of the grievances will be more. Thus, it is important to have a grievance procedure to process grievances. So, procedure is very important part. If the procedure is clear cut and transparent, where the employees can express their viewpoints, then it is better. Now, grief boxes. The grief box is a facility to file anonymous complaints about the various causes of discontent and dissatisfaction in the organizations. There is a little bit different between the suggestion box. Most of the companies, they have a suggestion box where it is box is there, people can drop their complaint, but it is little different. In this case, anonymity is assured and there is no reward or punishment. In this complaint, there will not be a punishment will be there. So it is a fair enough. People, employees are no fear in their mind. If I complain or if I put up my points, there should not be any adverse decision by the company. Most of the cases they are keeping in their mind and they are carrying on their overs in an unsatisfied mind. They are carrying the work. That should not, because as a human, you should feel happy, you should be belonging to the company itself, you should feel good, then only the production will be more, human restorations will be more, and health will also be good. So if the punishment system is not there, even reward is also not there, so then it will be very fair enough when people can give their suggestions or give their opinions for the things. The limited purpose is to let the management know what the employees feel without fear of the victimization. So without fear of victimization, that is the point. Open door policy. Most organizations fetch open door policy but do not practice it. The policy is good and democratic but usually ineffective and at times counterproductive. Organizations would do well to have a grievance procedure. If a grievance procedure exists, open door policy becomes redundant. So that this policy is 1A, it is a good policy, open door policy. Now exit interview. So employees usually quit the organizations due to dissatisfaction or better prospects elsewhere. So it requires certain skill to get to know the real reasons for leaving the job. Because most of the cases, if you ask anybody why you are leaving this job, may he may reply, no, for better perspective. He says. Some of the things is keeping his mind, his dissatisfaction, or some uh, complaint, everything. He may be keeping in their mind. He is not disclosing so far. So that's why it is very difficult to know or to analyze why the people are leaving these jobs. But that reasons you cannot stop anybody if somebody says, no, I have to go for better futures. But may or may not be true. Maybe what are the things is dissatisfaction or unsatisfaction, whatever the things, he has not satisfied his job, he is keeping his mind only, he has not disclosed it. So to discover the grievances, actually, there's different types. Other channels, group meetings, periodical interviews with the employees, and the collective bargaining sessions, etc., are some of the other channels through which one can have information about the employee discontent and dissatisfaction before them. So frequent discussions, frequent interactions, sometimes the feedback, some of the inputs can assist. So accessibility and the reality of the basic reasons can be achieved through this process. Each channel referred to above service serves the purpose in a different way. So using more than one channel is desirable because it may not be possible to get information about all types of dissatisfaction from one channel. Because channels should be more. Because suppose on the group meeting, particular one channel, it may not be successful. Maybe some of the information can achieve. So different other type of channels should be there. Through this way, we can achieve or to fetch some of the data informations from the employees. What is the going on? What is the mindset? What is the problem they are facing? So everything should be. So basically the data collections. If we get different channels, then it will be analysis will be more realistic. Feature will be coming up. When a complaint is not a grievance, because sometimes it has happened, what they are written, it may not be a complaint, just general things. So personal troubles and a request for advice. So that is some sort of complaints. You will often find that the people want to confine in you, treat them sympathetically, try to help them, and keep confidence strictly to yourself. So this is a kind of type of things. It may not be considered as a complaint. Complaints about fellow workers. This needs a lot of tact, diplomacy, and moral authority of your part. This sort of complaint becomes a grievance if the management gets involved when it should not be, or should not according to the contract or the past practices, or it does not get involved when it should. Another thing here, complaints about the government agencies and the local bodies. The complaints against the management not covered by the contract. So there may be cases you have to face which do not involve injustice, do not violate the past practice, and are not covered by the contract. So it still may be possible to remedy responsible to remedy these complaints by informal discussions between the union and the employer. So some of the things is not a grievances, but what are the complaints can be sorted out by the joint discussions in a healthy conditions. Here some of the types of complaints are also given. Borderline cases. Some of the cases are borderline. It may consider as a complaint, it may not be a not complaint. So this is the borderline cases. You should seek advice from the chief steward or the grievances committee. You are just taking something advice from the grievance committee or your local business representative before taking this up and grievances. So report back to the person complaining as soon as possible, explaining what you are doing and why. So this type of cases are basically the borderline cases. Complaints against the union. So it is up to explain to the complainant what his or her rights are under the rules and constitutions of the local and the international union. Because against the union, if you are complaining, then it may be to be seen that what the rights are there. Grievances may fall into certain broad categories, some of the other categories such as wages, incentives, work assignments, complaints about the job specifications. That is one of the categories. Another category is your interpretation of the rules, because what are the rules are written, the procedure, whatever the things, is not clear cut, defined. Still some ambiguities are there, not transparent as it was said. So like this, transfer policies, seniority, promotions. So this is one of the categories where most of the cases are grievance coming because it is interpretations problems. Third category is your another C category, the working conditions, safety, health hazards, health and welfare amenities, which may not be sufficient if some of the environment conditions, health hazards is there, smoke is there, or due temperature, comfortable temperature is not maintained. So all these are also your complaint in terms of your grievances. Number D is your supervision, discipline, favoritisms, victimizations, interpersonal relationship, etc. And another is the violation of the terms of the collective agreements, whatever the agreements were there collectively signed by the board, and there is the violation any side, that is also your complaint. Unfair labor practices and wrongful extraction of the work. So this is also part of the grievance, different categories. According to Pigos and the Myers, the three terms dissatisfaction, complaint, and grievance. There are three terms normally indicate the various forms of stages of the employee dissatisfactions. Dissatisfaction is anything that disturbs an employee, whether or not lie express his unrest in words. Maybe sometimes not in words, not written, but still the dissatisfaction is there. it persists. The grievance is more formal in character that a complaint. While the complaint can be either oral or written, grievance is always in writing because grievance always should be in a written form, where it is established to be clarified. Complaint may not be that much written forms, but grievance always you have to put some of the in a writing forms. Then causes of grievances. Grievances mostly arise out of all the following reasons: concerning wages, concerning supervisions, general working conditions, bargaining, management policy. So most of the things we have already discussed, but managing policy we have not discussed. Management policy is also one of the part of the grievance causes because the, what are the management has formulated the policy, maybe there are some loopholes, some lacuna is not effectively beneficial for the employees, so it will affect your. So slowly it will be a nature of complaints. We start from the employee side. So one of the structures I'm giving you, that is your redressal procedure, grievance redressal procedure. Aggravated, but by the employee that is aggravated first is the frontline supervisors, first step one. So it can be your union representatives can handle the things, or between your frontline supervisors and the union representatives. These are the first steps. Second step is your middle management, and there are middle level of union leaders. In the union also hierarchy is there. Some work levels, some of the policymaker levels, some of the union members may be the leaders. So there are so many levels are there. So if the middle management related matters, middle level union, then third step is your top management. There are top union leaders. So everything is a part of your arbitrations. When the things are out to resolution. So before that, what are the procedures are like this. So redressal process, there are so many steps of this. That is the terminated flowchart is given. So Industrial Dispute Act 1947 is already defined. There shall be a grievance settlement opportunity. It's given in every industrializations that employs 50 or more workers, then definitely they have to follow the Industrial Dispute Act are to be implemented. Then the Factory Act 1948, there also it is defined lot of rules, lot of grievance handling, how to handle the things, it is defined. And some model grievance procedures. The National Commission of the Labour has suggested a model grievance procedure which would ensure a speedy settlement of the grievances. From the government side is also a lot of initiatives are taken care, and time to time it is amended also. So this is the way it is already given. Then some of the steps are further steps of their settlement. How to settlement of the some guidelines also. There is a model grievances procedures. Same thing. The aggregated employees. Then first things the departmental representative. Then it may be a 48 hours. You have to settle the grievances. Then head of the department may take some 3 days maximum time. In case of grievances committee, they should allow the settlement time is will be 7 days. Chief executive again it is 7 days. Then voluntary artificial. So this is the way the settlement procedures are given, and some time frame is also. Then Industrial Relations Code, the 2020, which has been adopted by the Parliament and your assented by the President of India, but not implemented till date. As per the report, there is a March 2020. Processes the following, some of the following procedures are be there. Every industrial establishment employing 20 or more workers shall have one or more grievance redressal committee for resolution of disputes arising out of individuals' grievances. So, should have a cell, grievance cells if your employees more than 20. Number two, the grievance redressal committee shall consist of equal number of members representing the employer and the workers to be chosen in such manner as may prescribe. Some equilibrium, some balance should be there. Equal number of representatives should be there. So members should be equal members. So that jointly can be decision making process can be should be in a right way and should be in a good manner. Can be done. The chairperson of the grievance redressal committee shall be selected from among the persons representing the employer and the workers alternatively or rational basis every year. So it should be a change, maybe some election procedure or maybe some voting procedures. They have to elect some of the, to select some of the chairpersons. So that is important. These all are by the Industrial Relation Code. Based on this, it is written there. The procedures are formulated. The total number of members of the grievance resolution committee shall not exceed more than 10, provided that there shall be adequate representations of women workers in the grievance redressal committee, and such representations shall not be less than the proportion of women workers to the total workers employed in the industrial establishment. Some provisions are given in case of the women workers, so that has to be maintained. An application in respect of any dispute referred to the subsections may be filed before the grievance redressal committee by an aggrieved workers in such manner as may be prescribed within 1 year from the date of which the cause of action of such dispute arises. There is some procedures are given how to proceed the case. The grievance redressal committee may complete its procedures within 30 days of respect to the applications under the subsections. So in the subsection is maintained how many days should be taken. So days also it will be mentioned there. The decision of the grievance redressal committee or any application filed under the subsection in the section number 5 shall be made on the basis of majority view of the committee, provided more than half of the members representing the workers have agreed to such decisions. Otherwise, it shall be deemed that no decision could be arrived at by the committee. Another one is the worker who is aggrieved by the decision of the grievance redressal committee or whose grievance is not resolved in the said committee within the period of specified in section number 6 may within a period of 60 days, it is mentioned there, within a 60 days from the date of the decision of the grievance adjudication committee or from the date of which the period specified. So anyhow we have to redress the things. So that time frame is also given, time limit is also given, within a 60 days you have to finish it up. Then whether the organization should have a grievance mechanism at all, that thing should be there. Whether it should be formal structures or the fueling informations, this is a question means it should be. Means any organizations for the resolution purposes, these are different approaches are there. Single level of multi level, what type of level of you have given, whether the unliteral or the practices, the five party third party is there or not. So all these things are the different approaches. Some principles are given, and the ideal grievance procedure should rest on the following principles. Some of the principles are there. Which are the following principles? It should be prompt, well defined, simple, and time bound. B. It should encourage the employees to ventilate grievances without any limitations, however minor or imaginary they may have. So there should be an open system. Then you have to encourage the things. Yes, you ventilate. What are the problems? Tell me. C. It should facilitate settlement at the lowest level of the ladder as far as applicable. So any settlement, it should not go to the top level. Before that, in the lower level itself, in the first steps itself, yeah, it has to sort it out and should be practically to do these things. D. It should be in conformity with the existing legislations. Then it should permit active involvement of the union at the stage of formulating the grievance procedure and also in its implementation. Point number E is very important. It says when you are making the procedures, the policies, or when you are formulating conditions, so union's involvement is very much required. In that stage, take their opinion also and jointly they have to prepare it and go for the implementation so that the grievances, complaints will not be coming up from their end. So it should gain the confidence of the employees at large because employees also know, yes, we know it by the discussion of the joint discussion by the union and the management have decided. So it is good for us. There should not be any bias or anything else. So that confidence will build up. It should promote a healthy industrial relations climate. So a healthy climate will be developed. A well-planned and the administered grievance procedure has the following advantage. What are the advantages? If the procedure is very good, well-planned, then some of the advantages are there. It offers an opportunity to employees to process their grievances in a dignified manner. Feel some sort of respect will be there. Yes, that procedure is very good, and definitely we can get some outcomes in a very positive sense. It satisfies the employee's need of self-expression. It improves man-management skills of managers at the various hierarchical levels by building up the nature behavior. So it really improves the skill of the management and managers altogether. It helps the management to locate problem areas in the union management uh, relations and to anticipate the union demands. What the truly the union are demanding, that can be anticipated by the management very easy. So it will help. A well-planned and administered process of the following advantage strengthens. It strengthens the union functioning and the fosters the understanding between the parties, the facilities, the negotiations. Then it gives an indications as to the general level of the employees' moral, their attitudes toward the managements, and the kind of problems they face in the network situations. Another point is this: it enables also the management to understand the problems of the workforce and the grievance handling workplace, and helps in initiating the timely corrective actions. So all the good advantages are defined here. If the good procedure is there, well planned, then only you can get a advantage. Now the role of the human resources department. What are the roles of the human resources department? The role of personnel department should be to devise a sound grievance procedure which could serve as an effective upward communications channel. Again, you are talking about the communications because here the HR should be communicated very nicely so that the channel should be strong enough. What are the message should reach there in an effective way? To advise the line managers about the importance of the sound grievance handling systems and its implementations. Because the HR department always they have to monitor it. Really, that awareness, that message are reached to the line managers and not, because they are the directly dealing with the people where the sources of grievances, sources of complaints are likely to be appear. So, line manager's role is very important. So, handling the systems and the to train the supervisory personals in interviewing and the counseling skills. Their skills should be developed through this counseling by their personal levels to be improved. They should know all these things and how to deal with the workers. That is also one of the part of your training. To implement the promptly and the decisions are taken by the grievance committee, how quickly, how promptly they are considering it, to maintain the effective and the close liaisons with all concerns. License are closely you have to monitor the things. To maintain the records of the activities of the grievance committee, such as the details of the meetings held, action taken, and implemented. Because most of the meetings data, discussion data are not updated or may not be available sometimes in the next consecutive meetings. So before meetings data are to be up to date, whether the action has been taken or not, if it is not there, why it is delayed. So everything are to be monitored and taken care so that and further implementation time frame target has to be fixed, because within this period it is lacking or leaking. Why the reasons? To review the procedure, and it is necessary to modify the existing procedures to suit the changing circumstances. So if the managers, HR persons are feel the things are not moving in a right directions, lot of pending works are there, and not taken or not implemented so far, so that it may be due for some of the procedural problems there. Why? What is the root cause in the planning or in the procedures that has to be identified and rectify the things and suit for this particular change environment. whether the circumstances, based on the circumstances, it may be modified, it is required to modify it. To follow up the individual cases of the grievances, settle and identify their effect on the employees concerned as well as other employees of the organizations. Uh, Wrongdoings should be avoided and the handling the grievances, there should not be any vague things. So vagueness should be avoided. Careful, attentive listening is an essential feature of the grievance handling. During the handling, the careful and attentive is required. Facts should be separated from the opinions and the impressions. The management representative should be aware the decision taken on a simple grievance of an individual employee might have the organization's wide uh, repercussions and set up the precedent, precedent which cannot be separated, be departed from the lead. There should be a consistent policy as to who should communicate the various redress decisions to the employee. Another thing is it should be ensured that as far as practicable decisions, so are the taken, it may be a decision or more than one, taken as the lowest level of the grievances level. Means the frontline supervisors. The object of the grievance procedure is to resolve the disagreement between the employees and the organization. That is one of the objectives for the grievance procedure. So resolve. Somehow you have to resolve it. That solution should reach the solutions. Follow up is necessary to determine whether the grievance as perceived by the employee has been resolved to the satisfaction of the agreement. Discipline is an organization's is the key success because discipline is always important. Because without discipline, you cannot get a success. So, this is utmost decisions, utmost required. So, the term discipline refers to a condition in the organizations wherein the employees conduct themselves in accordance with the organization's rules and standards of the acceptable behavior. So, acceptable behavior are very much required. So, objectives and the importance of the discipline in the organization. Disciplinary issues. What are the issues of this? Disciplinary issues arise when there is non-conformity to formal and the informal rules and regulations of the organization. Then there are various forms of the discipline such as your absenteeisms, insubordinations, violation of the rules, gambling, incompetence, damage to machine and property, dishonesty, and other forms of the disloyalty lead to the industrial disciplines. So these all are the issues. To institute this kind of positive discipline among the subordinates and the managers must ensure that things are there. The rules and the regulation are reasonable, should be quite simplified, legitimate and clear and understandable also. Subordinates are involved in the framing the rules and the regulations so that they willingly accept it. There should not be any complex type of things. Prior and the clear notice is given to the consequences of breaking the rules. So, because notice has to be served in time if something are breaking the rules. So there should be a reminders or notifications should be there. So there is consistency and the uniformity of the punishment. because punishment is also disciplinary actions. If the disciplinary code, if it is violated or not obeying 100%, so degree of punishment should be mentioned, should be there. Uh, there should be consistency and the uniformity should be there. Human personality is treated with dignity. What are the human that you have to treat as a other human being, as asset of the company? So that type of dignity you have to show should be there. He or she, as a manager, should set high standards. So I always maintain the high standards. So disciplinary action, there are preventive discipline, corrective discipline, red hot stove rules, progressive discipline. There's a lot of the actions are given. Then disciplinary actions, some of these in charge sheet. The charge sheet basically it means a written statement of the certain allegations upon the offender to communicate that what is done and law breaking and not acceptable as per the code of the conduct. So charge sheet has been prepared to put up in the higher levels. So domestic, another thing, domestic inquiry, then awarding of the punishment, what type of punishment should be by the disciplinary authority. They have to show cause notice. If it is a show cause notice to be delivered. So all of the action, basically I'm talking about the disciplinary action. What are the actions? Suspension. Suspension means basically the prohibiting an employee from the performing the duties assigned to him. He cannot do the work. The service is intact until unless it is shut out, but suspension may be 1 month, 2 months, 15 days, whatever the things. So he cannot perform the work, and withholding the wages so far long as the provision. Even salary is also to be withdrawn, withheld. Maybe get after that. Dismissal and the discharge. Then retrenchment and layoff, all are defined different actions of the disciplinary actions. These all are in the final stage when the retrenchment or permanent is. One of the most influence explorations of the industrial conflict, then the viewpoint. The central idea for this writing is based important of the informal relationships, good communications, and supervision to improve the employee's moral efficiency and job satisfaction. So then it should not be avoided. The conflict can be avoided. Various level of conflict. We have seen the conflict within the individuals, conflict within the individuals, then between the individuals and the group, and group within the organizations. There are so many combinations conflict can be there. Psychological responses, common things, absenteeism, lack of interest of the work, job dissatisfaction, work distresses, and they are not happy, disappointment, all of the psychological responses. Variable responses like this, wastage of time, employees leave the organizations, sabotage, health cost, so many things are there, conflict situations are there, lack of job modifications, motivations. So no motivations are there, that type of things are induced introduction of the changes. Change can be braided intergroup conflict. So acquisition and the merger, for example, the encourage the intergroup conflict, the nature of the communications, aggressive nature of people. So these all are the sources of the conflict, from where the conflict are to be generated. So conflict between the organizations also sometimes. These all are the different sources. Statement of the industrial dispute in the Indians. Certainly, some of the settlement given, that is your 1947 disputes are there. The promotion of the measures of secure cordial relations are given. Investigation and settlement of the industrial disputes, prevention of the level strikes and the lockouts, provision of the relief and the matter of the layoff and the retrenchment. So all of the settlement disputes are uh, prepared by the government. And the government, some of the peaceful industrial scenario, they have some intervened and it has formulated a statutory machinery for the resolutions. Apart from the statutory, there are non-statutory approaches are also there. Recently, in the year 2020, this government has come up with the various labor and the industrial relations code also. The 2020 has made certain changes in the existing, there's the ID Action 1947. So a lot of changes have been done. Though these the codes have been adopted and the even presidential assents have been obtained, so they are yet to be implemented till date. There's already lot of things are there that which are to be. So things are already in a progress. Lot of things have already done in this industrial relationship relations, and lot of things has to be done also in future also because the situation and slowly the complex natures, work diversity, and are changing. Scenario is changing. Economically is also the growth is tremendous. So these aspects are. So that way it is now complete all the blocks distribution. So I hope you can complete the most of the games. And thank you very much. So thank you very much. All the best.